All right, we've been okay. Nah, it's so loud. It's so loud sometimes. We've been doing too many of these. We should have been recording. Hello, welcome to We Were Gamers. Preview 424 palindrome. We're gonna test out Craig and see what happens when somebody joins midway because Michael's a little bit delayed. But this is the third time we said we should have been recording. We're planning to go to Heritage Barbecue, and you said, I said I'd never been to San Juan Capistrano, and you said,
how is that not? How have you never been there? You went to the one in Oceanside, which is farther away from you.
yeah,
but not that one somehow.
And I don't make judgment on both, but people that have been to both definitively say that I have gone to the quote unquote wrong one.
Such as me, people such as me.
No, yeah. You're not alone is what I'm saying. Like your entire household is not alone in telling me that I am wrong.
Yeah. Everyone that I know says the meat and the stuff is better at the San Juan location. So,
what I don't get is they just get their meat from the San Juan location. So,
but no, they don't. They cook some of it there. They have a smoker outside.
Okay.
Now, obviously, they must be getting some of it from the San Juan location because that thing is not big enough to do a whole restaurant, which they have.
Right. They've got a full menu. So,
but like, maybe they're making the sausage there, or who knows? I don't know.
Look,
I don't know anything.
I am happy to use this as an excuse to go to the San Juan location. Is what I'm saying. I have never been. It sounds convenient. We should do it. And maybe they'll have the barn up by then.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Supposed to be early next year.
Dang it. Maybe they'll have some of the barn up by then. Hi, Michael.
Hey.
Hey, we're doing an experiment where you joined midway through our recording here to see what happens when you join midway through our recording here.
Ooh.
So I'm actually going to hit stop.
Okay.
Hold on. Okay, now you can tell him that we were chit-chatting and everything else.
Yeah, and
you were about to do it again.
I was.
There are 3 tracks here in this file. So I wonder how I'll figure out how to line those up, but we will see. We'll see. Very interesting.
So the Craig timestamp stuff whenever you first start talking when it started recording. So it gives you timestamps if you need to line things up.
Yeah, we'll explore. I mean, the end of the recording doesn't align. I've found this before. So it's not like you can just line up the tracks at the end and expect the beginnings to line up. Because if you stop talking, it sort of just ends your track. So like sometimes I line up the fronts of our tracks when we're all on line beforehand, and then it's fine, but our tracks end at different times. But this is the end of the production minute so that JJ can continue what he was going to say.
As Andy and I were chit-chatting before we started, we had mentioned a couple different things that were like, oh, like that's a funny coincidence. Mm-hmm. Like, funny that we both did.
Yeah, wait, hold on. Wait, Michael, what'd you have for dinner?
We did leftovers tonight.
What were they though?
The wife had pasta and I had pizza.
What kind of pasta?
Yeah, here we go.
Penne with shrimp.
What sauce was on the penne?
You're just
zucchini and tomato.
Andy's fishing here.
Oh man, we were so close.
We found out that both Andy and I had made. I didn't make anything, but Andy and I both had mac and cheese for dinner.
I did make.
Yes, I didn't want to imply that I had made it. I knew you made it.
I gotcha. We both made pork-based increased flavor mac and cheese.
Very nice.
Yeah. Very, very funny. And differed on which wines we picked, which I don't believe any of that was recorded. We started recording after that.
And then we started talking about Heritage Barbecue potentially for a meetup this weekend. And Andy mentioned he had somehow never been to the San Juan Capistrano one, which
is mind-boggling.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've had Heritage before.
Yeah, I know. I would have sworn that you had been to the original location.
I mean, we could throw out there that I think everyone on this podcast had Heritage before he had a restaurant. So, we had the OG.
Yes.
I don't know if I had it before he had the restaurant.
I really feel like you were at one of those breweries that he was cooking at.
Okay. It's certainly possible.
I really do feel like it. It was a thing. I know other Andrew, friend of the pod, almost had him cater his wedding.
I remember he was following him around at some point. It was getting close,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, hello. It's episode 424 of We Were Gamers. We're going to get right into it. Last episode inspired me to do a thing, gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
I went and watched Whiplash because it was on the top 25 list and I had not seen it.
Okay.
Michael, I'm sorry.
Okay. Why are you sorry?
I did not know it was so tough for you in the Stanford band.
Yeah, we didn't have it quite like that.
Are you sure? I mean, it's okay to talk about it here if you need to let us know how Mr. Fletcher treated you.
I mean, we were student run, so a little bit different animal.
A lot of animals, it sounds like. What that was a movie that midway through I was like, I'm not gonna like this, like in a feeling kind of way, like in a well-made kind of way. I do like it, and I actually looked up Damien Chazelle, I think, is the director.
Yes,
and I've seen all but one of his films since Whiplash, without knowing it, and like them all. I have not seen the newest one, the Babylon one, which I think is about movies or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen that one.
But psychological drama oftentimes feels like people airing their abuses and coming to very little conclusion. This one definitely had a conclusion, which was what turned it around for me, which is really nice.
Okay.
I thought. I don't know. It lived up to it to me. I don't know if it was top 25, but it was definitely great.
Yeah, it's a really well done movie. The acting performances are really, really solid.
JJ, had you seen it?
No.
You like J.K. Simmons?
Yeah, I think so. Sure.
Do you want to not like J.K. Simmons?
One of those, huh?
It's after he got ripped. And it very much goes with the character of changing his visual persona. I'm sure he's still a wonderful human being. By all accounts, he seems to be very nice. He's going to be in that Christmas movie coming out.
Red One.
That's the thing.
Yeah, he plays Santa.
That movie sure does seem dumb.
Ouch. Yeah. There you go. Whiplash, thank you for the top 25 from Rotten Tomatoes. I think you guys were overly fascinated with the voting system you kept talking about it afterwards.
Well, I think it's an interesting voting system because they only they're making a top 25 list, but they only let you pick 5 movies. So you sort of de facto have to pick a top 5, which then means every movie on the list was probably someone's top 5 movies, which is wild.
Right.
Yeah, once we went back through it and thought about that, I was like, really? This was in someone's top 5, huh?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, especially like stuff that was lower on the list. I was like, wow. Huh. All right.
Yeah, I know nothing about Whiplash, but, by all accounts, it was very good. And so, okay, sure, like, that makes sense. But then, like, some of those movies at the bottom of that list, I was like, is someone picking, like, I liked Black Panther well, but, like, in the top 5 movie of that last 25 years or whatever?
Yeah.
Woo, man, I don't know if I can do that.
So Iron Man 1 ostensibly is the start of the MCU, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that would be 16 years ago. So basically the entire MCU is within the last 15 years. So you probably had a decent enough amount of people that said, "Oh, well, I have to say the MCU needs a pick in the top 5 because it was cinema until probably like 2022."
Sure. I mean, for like 10 good years or something, right?
Yeah, I mean, they dominated until about 2022. So what do you say, right?
Yeah.
Other than Black Panther is probably the most well-regarded of all of those movies, and probably will be for a while.
I mean, I don't see any signs of it falling off. I think it's like between that and the first Iron Man, right? Like those are your choices, kind of.
Yeah,
That one falls outside the list. It's 16 years ago.
Oh, was it only the last 15 years?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was the last 25. But yeah, okay. Then sure, if that one's outside, then you got to pick the next best one, right?
I think it was the last 15. Yeah. I think
okay.
Yeah.
No, it was 20. It was 25 because it went back to 99.
Oh, that's right. You're absolutely right because there's Matrix.
The Matrix was in there. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was between. Yeah, so 100%. That's what happened. The entire MCU is within. I don't know why I thought it was 15. Yeah, 25 because 25 for 25 because Matrix was on the list and a couple other things from.
Which I think this then is the last year of the Matrix's eligibility. So if they want that, they have to do this list now because next year it won't be valid, right?
Yeah. What a good movie that Matrix movie is, man.
Pretty good.
I went back and looked at the list and I thought there's a decent smattering of good directors on the list. But I saw a distinct lack of Roger Deakins on the list, which is a DP that I like. Weird. People, I think, what I'm saying is, I think people went towards culture and content and not visual as much, other than maybe you could make the argument for Fury Road being visual.
Yeah, I don't know where to go on that one because Fury Road is also like just like a tour de force of action as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, not a Roger Deakins movie, so.
Sorry, Roger Deakins stands.
Oh well, that's all right. Whiplash is on Netflix, and another show that's on there that's been recommended to me a lot. I don't know if you guys have heard of this before. You probably both have heard of I Think You Should Leave. The comedy sketch show.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of memes from it, like the hot dog guy, like we're all looking for the guy who did this or whatever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The duo from that started another show long before called Detroiters. I don't know if you ever watched or heard of it.
It rings a faint bell.
It's a somewhat serialized, not exactly sketch comedy show that's about two ad agency dudes in Detroit trying to revitalize the city, and they make terrible ads. You can kind of, if you got the vibe of I Think You Should Leave, it's basically the same.
Okay.
I'm not here to recommend it. I'm bringing it up by name because it gets a lot of recognition as like a successor to Bob Odenkirk and his style of off-brand, off-beat comedy. But they took it to another level, and I was wondering if you guys have ever seen stuff that is like discomfort comedy or like off-putting comedy, where a lot of times like people are doing things and you're kind of just like, this makes me uncomfortable, or like for some reason this makes me feel weirded out, or I don't understand why the characters would do this, or like here's an example. Like in one of the episodes, they need to buy a van for their business, right? And farcically, they go to a police auction and buy a motorcycle instead. And the two of them ride around town on this rice rocket they call a hog and just sort of ignore their business for a whole episode and just do things that make you feel uncomfortable. Right?
I mean, the first thing that came to mind when you said that was Sacha Baron Cohen of like uncomfortable comedy.
I'm trying to think that's a good example of uncomfortable comedy, but it also, the discomfort is in the people around Sacha Baron Cohen, more of like a prank.
As opposed to you, the watcher.
Yeah. So like Sacha Baron Cohen seems to be pranking the people around him with discomfort, and you are watching their discomfort and laughing. This is making you, the viewer, uncomfortable.
Okay.
I'm not typically watching a lot of media that makes me intentionally uncomfortable.
This seems to be the design of it, and I think You Should Leave also has this design. And
again, another show I also didn't watch.
Right. So I was curious if you guys have watched or not watched, or Whiplash also made me think of this, right? It's a movie that, in the trauma that the characters are experiencing and the abusiveness that you're watching, made me uncomfortable. And so, like, in an era of this type of watching, I was wondering if we're supposed to keep watching these things, or we say, you know what, I don't feel like this is advantageous and I don't want to watch this. Is it okay to quit Detroiters even though it's supposed to be amazing?
I think it's okay to quit anything regardless of its reputation.
Yeah, but you know, sometimes things are supposed to make you feel discomfort. That's the point of them, right? You're supposed to reflect on art that holds a mirror up to your values.
Well, I think art in general is supposed to make you feel something, right? That's one of the fundamental purposes of art is to invoke a feeling in the viewer or the participator or whatever the type of art it is. And it's okay that art wants to invoke you a feeling of discomfort or unease or cringe or whatever. Like
cringe is a good word.
That's all valid.
Cringe is definitely a good word. Cringe comedy,
I also can choose not to engage with that art.
True.
If I don't enjoy it. So
okay.
Like, you don't owe anything to the artist to experience their work. Right? It's not like, oh, well, this is like considered good, therefore I must spend my time to go see it. Like, you're not a movie critic. You don't have any need to do that.
Yeah, exposure to things, I guess, is the point, right? And exposure can be 1 or 2 episodes of something and not all 15 or 20 or 40.
Yeah, totally. Right? Like, you have done more exposure to it than I have, right? Other than like having heard the name, I didn't know anything about it. Now I know slightly more. And you've watched a couple episodes and you're not feeling it. You can dip. It's cool.
I had the feeling it would be similar to that I Think You Should Leave show, which got really good reviews, but it's also very, very much the same comedy, right? Uncomfort, discomfort. Yeah. Hey, I was watching some of this on my phone, by the way. We've talked about like phone games. I don't know why we haven't talked about COTC in a little while. There's a reason for that, probably. We can get into.
There to talk about.
What's there to talk about? Nothing for what, another half a month, and then even then it might not be good news.
Yeah.
Did you know Netflix? You guys both have Netflix. Do you know they do games?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we talked about this because of Monument Valley 3.
Correct. Do you know how they do games?
My understanding is poorly, but that's kind of it.
Well, what's interesting to me about it is I live in a home with someone who enjoys kind of the more free game realm of like, I want a free Sudoku, I want a free Minesweeper, I want a free this, and I want a free that.
Yeah.
Netflix kind of has that stuff, but like good quality. Like they have Minesweeper, but like what if you took Minesweeper and put good graphics on it and updated it and made it fun and gave it stamps and stickers and all that sort of like gamified stuff, and it was also free because you already have Netflix, you know? Aside from the fact that they also have Monument Valley 1, 2, and they're going to have Monument Valley 3.
I believe they also have like more, like traditional larger games, right? Like I think Oxenfree is on there, I saw.
Yeah, they have all that. What is that? Night Dive? Is that the name of that studio?
That is the name of a studio. I don't know if it's the one we're referring to.
I don't remember what Oxenfree's studio's name is. Yeah, I mean they have a lot. Night School, not Night Dive, Night School.
Yeah, see, Night Dive, different studio.
Yeah, Oxenfree is made by Night Dive, though. I was trying to remember, or Night School, not Night Dive. Sorry, I can't keep it straight. Oh man,
they have a Dead Cells, JJ.
Oh, Dead Cells.
What?
Dead Cells Netflix edition.
See,
interesting.
So what you do is you just go into your Netflix app on your phone, and you're like, look at these bazillion games, and then you tell it what you want, and it downloads it as an app through the App Store. So like Shovel Knight Pocket Edition, JJ.
Cool.
Yeah, it's just sitting here. I haven't tried it, but instead of maybe an Apple Games account where you have to pay another $7 a month or whatever, I'm already paying for Netflix probably forever at this point, right?
It feels like that.
It does feel like that, doesn't it? It's like I don't know what other accounts I can get. I could probably get rid of a lot of stuff before Netflix, just in general. I think my house would last all the way on Disney Plus probably until the very end, but Netflix is up there somewhere. I don't know. I was surprised by the quality of offering. There's a lot of shovelware. There's a lot of upgraded free stuff, but upgraded free stuff isn't that bad. You know what I mean? Like, for the people looking for Minesweeper, what if you just had good Minesweeper instead of cheapo Minesweeper that was free because of ads, but you already paid for this, so it doesn't have to have ads.
Right.
I just thought I'd mention it. I was surprised to see it, and at some point we're gonna have Monument Valley 3 on there, and I'm gonna try that out, and maybe this Shovel Knight Pocket Edition. I did try out this Minesweeper, and it sure is a good version of that. So,
I'm seeing that Shredder's Revenge is on here too.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but you could try it. Maybe I'll try it. I don't know. I don't have time for that, JJ. You know why?
Why? Who could say why?
You can say why. You know what I did.
What did you do?
You know what I did because I promised it.
Delivering on a promise. Right here.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get up to some... did you echo some things?
I have been echoing all sorts of things. Currently, my favorite echo is the one that rolls straight away from me.
Oh, the little
the little roly-poly armadillo.
Yeah, okay.
Although I like the snake quite a bit, he seems very weak.
Yeah, not a fave.
Not a fave. We're going to talk about Echoes of Wisdom, Michael. So, plug your ears if you don't want spoilers.
That's cool.
I am charmed by this game. By what appears to be a SNES. No. Game Boy Advance level RPG with a lot more better graphics and stuff to do.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a Zelda game, right? Like, even in the ways that it's not a Zelda game, it still is a Zelda game. Like, you aren't getting, other than the ability to create echoes, like, and do stuff with the rod to like manipulate echoes.
Okay.
you only level up in the ways that, the RPG mechanics only exist in the ways that they exist in traditional Zelda games, right?
Very traditional. Although the addition of things from those other Switch Zeldas seems prevalent.
Which one?
Being able to there are abilities that seem like they might be straight out of the open world Zeldas.
Which ones? I don't know where you are. I don't want to say anything that you don't know about.
Okay. Like manipulating and moving and I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that whole the entire power is kind of like one of the big new things in the game, right? That and the ability to create echoes are kind of it.
Yeah. So like Michael, that thing where you can like I don't know if it's like called stop in the Tot K. Where you can like move stuff around and rearrange it. I mean, it's much more limited probably than Tears of the Kingdom, but
though, Andy, are you using that beam to maximum effect? It's pretty good, dude.
I have just seen the beam, so no.
Okay. How far in are you then?
A couple hours.
Okay.
Maybe a couple hours.
Have you escaped?
Escaped.
You have the ability to create echoes? You're out in the map?
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Okay. Have you done a dungeon?
I have done... do you mean the little things on the map that are marked as like little underground things? Or do you mean like a rift?
They give you some quests at some point.
I'm in quests.
What quest are they giving you?
I'm rifting.
Just go to a rift?
I'm in rifting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Try not to spoil stuff for Michael. It's good.
The
game
good.
Seems good. It doesn't seem overly difficult yet, but I can already foresee an issue because I've seen it already. Michael, you wander around, right? You get these echoes. I think JJ described last time. You like beat up a monster or whatever. Like I threw a rock at it. I threw a rock at a slime, and now the slime leaves behind a shard or whatever it was called. Shimmer. And then you can make the slime now. Except the slime is kind of useless.
I mean, you have like limited charges that you can.
Yeah. You got 3 charges. The charges, the things you're echoing cost different amounts of charge. So, like, you want to make that big spear bad guy, 3 charges. You want to make the spinning Death World plant that has spikes fly out of it, 3 charges. But hey, you want to light that thing on fire with a monster you can throw at it, only 2 charges. Why not?
You want to make a bed, 1 charge.
Important because you need to stack beds to make bridges.
Andy, you get the trampoline.
I did get the trampoline. Very fun.
Trampoline, pretty good.
So this is my thing. I went to the town, and not the only town I've been to, but I went to the town. That first town, and I went into a building, and they're like, "Hey, copy this pot," and I was like, "Wait a minute, I've already copied a pot." And then I copied a trampoline, and I said, "Interesting. Why did I have all these other things like a table that I needed to copy and a rock and this other thing?" There seems to be a lot of bloat in the amount of things you can echo. Because like I could just stand on a rock instead of a table. I don't need a rock and a table.
The rock is taller than the table, so you can't jump directly on top of the rock from standstill without
the rock. The rock that you can throw is the same height as the table.
Oh, I got you. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
The pick-upable rock, not the boulder. Right. Sorry.
But the boulder and the box are the same size. Now, the box can float, so I understand why the box and the boulder both exist.
The tree is taller than both of those, right?
Correct, and you can still walk on the tree. I get the verticality aspect of why there are multiple items, but like dose pots, monsters that you're never going to use, it seems like there's going to be some bloatage, and there's no hotkey menu.
Yeah, so let me tell you about the number one complaint I have about the game, which is that there are, Andy, everything. You can echo everything.
I saw a count. I think it's like over 120.
There are so many.
Michael, it does rearrange your most recently used echoes to the top. When you echo something, there's like an echo menu, and it literally just sort of pause to go through the echo menu to select your next echo. But there's one button for echoing things. So
yep, I'm starting to see it.
Okay, A is jump. No, A is interact. All right, so we can't have that do anything else.
A is also jump.
No, B is jump.
Oh no, you're right.
Yeah. B is jump. By the way, there's a jump in Zelda. Top down Zelda now has jump.
Which, I mean, just like Link's Awakening, which this looks exactly like.
Yeah, you just needed an item in Link's Awakening.
We'll talk about how it looks in a second, because I'm going to gush. But X, I have no idea what X does. Y, echo. Want to get to your echoes? Use the D-pad on the other side of the Switch controller and push right, and then go through a linear menu with your stick until you find what you want. Generally speaking, the stuff you use the most is right there at the top of the linear menu, because it rearranges whatever you've used the most. However, I can imagine towards the end of this game in a dungeon where they're like, okay, you need to light a brazier, then you need to set that thing on fire, then you need to make that thing run through the other, you know what I mean? Like, it's gonna maybe be a nightmare, or maybe the game's not that complicated.
I mean, they have puzzles. Like, there's going to be stuff in
I've definitely
the dungeons where they're going to make you do some puzzles. The puzzles get slightly more complicated as you go along, but you have more stuff, more crap.
I cannot get myself to hold on to a keys for my life.
You can do it, though. It's annoying.
I know.
There are other animals you can summon
hard
later that are easier to hold.
Okay. Michael, you can summon keys and then make them fly around for you.
Of course you can.
Those are the bats.
Yep.
Yeah. Everyone knows what a keys is, right?
Yeah, I don't know. There's slower moving ones, and faster moving ones you get later. So the number one complaint is that because you can get everything, that summon menu only has like 4 sorting options, and it's like most recent, most used, most expensive, and like type. And the type one is like very unclear what that order means, but also it like groups things like, oh, here's all the boxes, here's all the trees, here's all the beds, here's all the other things, right? And you're like, okay, but like if the thing I want, the category I want is at the end of the list, this is a hassle now. Like, it doesn't let you order those categories.
Right.
So actually, Andy, half the time when you have a big list of things and you know you want a specific exact thing, I don't even use that menu. I just use actual pause and go into that menu and select from there.
Oh my God.
Because it's a grid there and it's faster to scroll through if you need a specific one.
Oh my God.
However, the other thing I will say is you very rarely need a specific one. And
that's
if you do,
probably true, right?
And if you do,
there's a
it's
lot of stuff
frequently
that
in your
does
last used.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that does similar stuff, like I was saying before. If you need height, you can use 4 or 5 different things to get some height.
Totally.
Including a trampoline.
Yeah, exactly. A trampoline, really good for height, by the way. Until you get a specific one later, which I think is my most used echo.
Okay.
But I won't tell you what that is because you're definitely not there. Or you would also be using it. And like in terms of monsters and stuff, like there are some really powerful early game ones that maybe you aren't thinking about. Your echoes don't hurt you.
My echoes don't hurt me.
Just
like
remember
the fire
that.
person?
The fire will hurt you, but like you can hold the fire person.
The
right?
spinning death pokey spike monster?
I mean, hey, that thing ain't bad, but no, that's not the one. There are some like extremely broken low cost echoes, I'll say. Like the speedrun utilizes them because they're so good, right?
I like dropping the urchin as I run around.
The urchin is really good.
There's just I don't know if you remember, Michael, but just the sea urchins that just sit around and do nothing.
Yeah, they just get in your way.
Spikes. Yeah. But like, what if you threw out food bait for some monsters to run up and eat, and then you just threw urchins around the food bait?
What if you just throw the urchins at the monsters?
Well, that's what the rolling armadillo is for me. It's like, oh, there's a monster over there. I'm just going to rolling armadillo from over here. Like you would bomb chew, right? Like if I were Link, I would see it on the edge of the screen and just throw bomb chews until it's dead.
Mm-hmm.
I, in fact, did that. Michael, you start the game by playing Link, by the way, who is actually named Link in this game.
Okay.
Yep. Like he uses his name multiple times.
I went to a village and they're like, Link's missing. And Zelda goes, who the hell is Link? Like literally. It's the first question in the game you can ask in a text menu. It's like, who the hell is Link? Oh boy. It's a good game, dude. I am taken with it so far. The graphics also. I am playing it. I guess I'm gonna guess you can guess how I'm playing it.
Handheld mode.
The only way you play a Switch?
That's the only way I play a Switch, was just handheld, yeah. I actually am playing it on my Switch Lite. And 720p don't bother me because it's a small little screen on that Switch Lite. And
how's the performance in handheld?
So far nope. So far I have not noticed any hitching or slowdown so far.
Okay, cool.
I'm expecting it, knowing the reputation of these games on the Switch. I'm assuming you found some.
I mean, I play it docked mostly. It didn't bother me, but like you can get some stupid stuff later. So it gets, look, man, you can cause slowdown if you want to, right?
I kind of take back my Zelda as their necromancer quote.
Yeah.
Because running around with minions following you around is just a waste of time.
And in fact, especially early on when you can't make that many of them, waiting for the minion to attack again is also a waste of time. Just summon another one.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Just keep rolling with new dudes. More armadillos.
Yeah. Or, more whatevers, right? The beam, though, I will tell you, is like so good. It is like the best tool.
Good. It seems really good. Dragging stuff into other stuff seems really good.
Yeah, dragging things such as monsters so that they can't run away from your monsters. They just stand there and get beaten on.
I like I took the Switch Lite on vacation and did not end up using it due to the headphone situation we discussed last week. I really loved how small even it is compared to a normal Switch when packing it. And I thought, I'm not going to like playing a game on it as much as I would like a Switch or on a TV. And this game, given the design of it, that 3/4 view, the graphics, the just like everything looks like a really cool amiibo toy. Like all the characters, all the grass, everything looks like a toy. The resolution making it feel like it should be on something that size. It feels like an advanced GBA, advanced Like, you know what I mean? I really think it's almost perfect on that little handheld.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the way you're gushing about this tells me you didn't play Link's Awakening, right? Because it looks like this. And that was the thing that was so awesome about that game.
Link's Awakening felt, and I did not play more than a few minutes of Link's Awakening before I had to set it down and then didn't go back to it. So I would just assume to say, no, I did not. But Link's Awakening also felt like Link's Awakening, and just with like a little bit cool, like, oh, this is cool, they reskinned it. But since this was so new and fresh,
yeah, totally, I'm with you. Yeah, like this is a completely different experience.
yeah,
but like,
other than I can still spin to crop grass, I guess.
Yeah, you know, and jump, right, which is the other thing.
It just makes the Switch Lite feel like, I think they wanted to make a Switch Lite and not a Switch. You know what I mean? Like, Nintendo has always excelled at handhelds, and when they were like, what if the Switch was actually a handheld? The Switch Lite really feels like the games were meant to be played on it. I hope the Switch successor, what are they calling this thing?
They haven't given it a name.
I don't think they.
What do we think the name's going to be? It's just going to be Switch with two eyes, right?
Man, that would be such a horrible idea.
2WiiTCH.
Which means that that's exactly what they're going to do. Not because it's a horrible idea and they're a bad company, but because it's cringe enough to say, like, yeah, that's what they're going to do. Switch with two eyes.
Just replace the S with a 2.
Turn it backward.
I don't like that. I don't like that as much as I like two eyes. Two eyes has me, you know, it's like M-I-I, me, you know?
Well, yeah, that's why I said SWIiTCH.
Backwards compatible?
Yeah, the Nintendo investor call they had recently, they announced that Switch games will be playable on the Switch successor console.
Switch successor console.
That's all they have said. Literally just that one sentence. No, and then also something about Switch Online also, right?
Yeah, Switch Online and all the functions of Switch Online. So like all the things that you've been paying for expansion pass or like anything else on there. Basically, they're like, hey, no, we really did make an online system and it's going to work going forward. Right, like versus the Wii U and the Wii, where it was like, oh no, everything online is tied only to the console. Versus we have server side stuff now.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
2024, Nintendo can run a server.
Well, it remains to be seen. Let's,
a lot of comments I want to make after that, but we'll just leave it there. Yeah, 2024.
I think we don't know enough yet to say, right? Because they're like, oh, Switch software will run on the successor console. Well, but like game carts,
Switch game
digital
carts.
Downloads. Can I transfer stuff over? Like that doesn't mean they let you do any of that.
Yeah, I imagine if they're being general, it means most of it will work. I know for a fact that this makes some sense when they started going after all the Switch emulators, right? They probably were debating internally whether or not they had to make this backwards compatible to succeed. They debated it internally for a while, and now that it is backwards compatible, they're going to have to take down the Switch emulators because the vulnerability that is in Switch software will then still be there.
Right.
Fix your software, Nintendo. I don't care.
Yeah, but I'm guessing they can't at this. You know what I mean?
I see why they did. You see how they get to that idea.
Yeah,
but it's not going to stop it. There's going to be Switch emulation. Like, there's nothing they're going to be able to do.
Yep.
So, but yeah, I think the thing at this point that, we just hope that you don't have to like pay to bring things over. You hope that you could just like download your downloadable games again and just use them. Your Switch Online memberships and stuff, I assume, are going to carry over, but you don't know that, right? It's all accessible there, but do you have to pay to have it on a Switch 2 and a Switch 1? So all
Good
this
question.
stuff,
Good
who knows?
question.
And then, like, will games run better? Will there be upgraded versions? Will there be, Echoes of Wisdom DX, or, who knows?
I would love if they then, I mean, they'll never talk about this until the Switch is on its way out. But if they were
Thanks, I hate it.
Yeah,
it's gonna catch on.
The Switch, it's so distracting. I can't remember what I was gonna say. Oh, if they're like, and by the way, like, the software does run better, that would be a huge selling point of like, there's no hitching on these old games.
I mean,
there'll be hitching on the new games, but
right. I mean, they would be fools if the older stuff couldn't run better somehow, right? Like, even if you do no work, if there's just a better CPU, it should just in theory work slightly better, right?
One would hope.
Who knows?
One would hope. Oh boy. Well, I don't think that we have a ton more this week because there's just so much going on. But Metaphor Refantazio is still part of JJ's life, so we should hear about it.
Man, what a timely game.
Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah.
It's about an election.
Well, that's certainly happening.
Yep.
There are some pretty good memes around it, where, there's we talked about it before, right? Like the magical face of the king appears in the sky and like decrees that there will be an election for the next king.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Right, yeah.
I didn't know it was that big of a part of the game.
It's the main plot of the game. Like, that is the plot. Right.
Keeps going. Got it. You don't get elected king right away?
No. And
got to make those friends.
Totally. And so I've, started the plot in earnest and, been moving through learning. I did the first dungeon and got some new characters, and man, I think they have come up with a really cool job system in this game. I love that they, at certain points, will just let you swap between the jobs sort of freely. You have to spend some money to unlock it on each character, but once you've done that, like, you just want to change your system around, cool, go for it.
No repercussions, huh?
The experience is tied per job, so your experience doesn't carry over. So you have to start, level up again on the new character. But if you use a mastered job, like one that you have, gotten all the way through all the levels on, and you earn enough experience on it to gain another level, you get an item that just gives you that amount of experience to another job.
Oh, okay.
So
it's not wasted to keep playing with a job that you've gotten all the way.
Yeah, that's awesome. Nice.
That's a good idea.
If you have a party of, you master the basic, warrior class, and you keep using it because it's useful for, the skills it has or the fight you're going into or whatever.
Sure.
And you gain, 1,000 experience. Well, you gain an item that just gives you that, I think 1,000 is about a level. I'm not sure how exactly it works, but I think it's close. Then you go, oh, well, I can take that item and give a level to something else. Which is really cool. You have to get the full level. It doesn't give you like partial. But, if you're using the class, in theory, you have it for a reason, right? So it really is encouraging you through the various dungeons I've been in so far to like really experiment with the kinds of, attacks you have, right? Because enemies are weak to slash or pierce or blunt, and then they have all kinds of elemental weaknesses, and you can swap around classes to mix and match all those things to like come up with cool parties. And because every character can be everything, at least so far, there's no real limitation on what you want to do. It's cool, man. I'm enjoying it so far.
What are you playing it on PC?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe it is on a lot of things, but I don't know.
Yeah, I was just booting up Game Pass to see.
I don't think it's on Game Pass.
Although every time I open Game Pass now, they want me to play Black Ops 6.
I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
It is on Xbox, but I don't think it's on Game Pass.
It is on Game Pass for purchase, but not yet for free. Free? I don't know. For subscription. That's 'cause it's not free. Right? You're paying.
Right.
Anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So,
all right.
I'm enjoying it. It's cool. I'm going to keep plugging away at it, but it looks like it's another one of those long RPGs. So,
yeah. Couple 100 hours.
Hopefully not that bad.
80 hours.
Yeah, maybe.
Is it the platonic 80-hour RPG?
I don't know, but I'm enjoying it so far.
What's your estimation of what I'm in for Echoes of Wisdom here?
Again, you have barely started the game. Have you been into a rift yet?
Yes. Yeah.
And you closed it?
I am about to close it.
Okay, so you saved in the rift and we're done.
I saved before closing it to come to this podcast. After this podcast, I will go close the rift.
Okay. Is that the first one?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Get used to that. You're going to do a lot of it.
Okay.
I guess.
Fair enough.
But you haven't really done a real dungeon. I guess maybe like the escape from the castle kind of counts as one real dungeon.
That was in a fun way frustrating, where it was like every room was learn the room and then fail and then redo the room perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of those, Michael, it was one of those rooms where it's like, okay, this guard is pointing that way and that guard's pointing that way. And if I get seen, I got to restart.
You have to learn all of their patterns and exactly when to step where.
And like you can only see so far. Like even on a TV screen, you can still only see so far, right? They let you move the map around a little bit with the right analog stick to move the camera.
Yeah, but it's
like,
barely.
It's barely. So like, yeah, you might clear that guard and then it's like, whoops, I walked right into another one.
I did find it funny, some of those guards in that area, you can literally just like box into a corner and they just like stand there looking around like, what? When did I get shoved into a wall between these boxes?
I literally just put a bunch of boxes around one of them and he had a bunch of question marks above his head and then I just sort of walked right by. I was like, well,
and then he stays that way forever. He's like, guess I just live here now.
Yeah. It's very funny that the game is intentionally like, the AI is kind of dumb. Just manipulate it.
I mean, thank God, because some of the enemies are BS.
Yeah, sure.
Like specifically that floating plant thing early on really sucks, dude. I hated that thing.
The floating plant with the spikes?
Yeah, the spinny spike plant thing.
You didn't light it on fire?
I mean, I did eventually light it on fire, and then I had to run away for an hour while it died.
I just kept throwing fire at it. I put the braziers in front of me so it wouldn't come close, and I kept hucking stuff at it.
Smart.
Yeah. I mean, the brazier was right outside the dungeon, so I was like, I'm going to use fire in here.
Yeah.
Commit to the bit.
I mean, they're telling you right there. You know what I mean? They're telling you who they are.
Yeah.
Believe them.
You were asking in terms of like length, how long is the game?
It's probably not that long.
I mean, it's not super long, but like there are main dungeons, big quests they send you on basically.
I'm loving the little tiny side dungeons. I'm loving them. Just to pop down here, figure out a 2-second puzzle, figure out how to beat this 2-second little mini boss.
Then, if you like going into the rifts and like collecting the orbs and like, getting all the whatevers and doing that, like good, because there's a lot of that. So like even as part of the main quest, you'll have to do a bunch of those. So if you are like digging that stuff, then you will be well served by this game. So
I can already feel that like there's gonna be pieces of heart that I miss, and I'm not gonna look at a guide to find them.
let me tell you, dude, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean,
you don't need 'em.
I've already filled a full heart container, and it's like I wasn't even trying.
Yeah, and like you'll get to the end and you won't need it. Like it's fine.
Fair enough.
Yeah, especially
I love the fairies just jump in your bottle mechanic. That was very funny to me.
When I first got that message, I laughed out loud. I was like, you get the first bottle and you're like, oh, okay, but like, how do I, do I have to?
Yeah,
catch
how do
the
I
fairy?
equip
What
it? How do I use it? There's no equip the bottle button, Michael.
Okay.
Yeah, so you just find a fairy, and they're like, oh, a bottle. I'm getting in.
Yeah, the message is the fairy loves it and it jumps into your bottle, and you're like,
It
okay.
literally says the fairies, basically like the fairies love captivity. Just go get them. It's like, really? Okay.
I can't wait until you meet the Great Fairy. Spoiler alert, there's a Great Fairy. I don't know. I don't feel like that's a spoiler. It's a Zelda game.
I don't think it's a spoiler. I assumed there was a Great Fairy at some point here. Oh, there's an interactive map for this game. That's good. Okay.
Yeah. And you start getting the accessories, and those are cool. It's a cool game, man. It has a lot of cool stuff in it.
I am having a great time. I can't wait to use the trampoline more. I'm not excited for the fact that I'm going to have a bazillion things to choose from. I almost wish it was more like Scribble Knots, where it's like the ideas are infinite. Don't worry too much about it.
Yeah. You'll eventually settle on stuff. He's like, all right, this is my go-to monster. It's like, this guy just does all the work for me. It's fine.
Also, it's great. It's great that break everything is still a verb in games. Like, I was like, what if I pick these rocks up? Oh, I get rock salt. Okay.
You'll learn your preferred way to Skyrim around everything. And, you won't need to go searching every time for a new pot or a new brick or whatever.
Yeah. Very good. If people have their favorite summon echo, where should they email that?
They should armadillo roll that on over to podcast@weweregamers.com.
Yes.
I looked it up. It's called a carmadillo. Caromadillo.
Oh, Karam.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think it should have been carmadillo. Okay, but
they love their puns.
Yeah. YouTube.com/@weweregamers. Be back next week. More Echoes of Wisdom. We should probably talk F1 next week.
Andy, oh my God, the race was so crazy. Did you watch it?
I got about halfway through it, which is why I didn't want to talk. I got to the red flag, and then something came up, and I couldn't finish the race.
All right, next week.
Yeah, so I have actually avoided all news regarding the race still, other than the fact like that 4 people texted me, "Did you watch the race?" But I had something going that day, and everybody knew it, so nobody told me what happened, and I still haven't spoiled myself, so I'll probably finish it tonight.
Well, next week I will love to talk about F1 with you. Things are wild.
Yeah, we will catch up. Is there another race this week? Probably not, because they're traveling back from the New World.
I know. I believe there is.
Oh, really?
Or is this the week that there's a break and then it's Vegas next week?
I'm guessing there's maybe there is. What's today? Today's the 5th. There's a break until Las Vegas because they got to move everything they went from US, Mexico, Brazil. So now they get a break and then they go back to the US, and then there's another break
because then they got to go to
Qatar and Abu Dhabi.
Middle East. Yep.
Yeah. So we'll have time to catch up next week about F1.
All right. Good stuff.
Before Vegas number 2.